Hello, everybody. Hello. Let me add that in there. Ooh, I am here. People are here. Art of Breaking is here. Good to see you as always. Brian Delahousse. Good to see you. Toga Tank, always. Hey, Daniel, I had a schedule all month. You knew. I would use my finger. Singer with a shuriken. Hey, what up, everybody? Yes, that's where I'm headed next. Tweeting that thing out. True Gamer, yes, I'm glad you liked it. C-Rod, welcome. I should go to bed, but good pronunciation. I got some Southern in me. I don't know if that's a Southern name, but I figured it was. I'm pretty good at reading names. I think I've been told. KB, what up? Movie Maniac Forever. What up? Kato Kun. You want creepy pastas? Try reading an Edgar Allan Poe story. True, they are really creepy. So yeah, for the 14 of y'all who are here, thank y'all for being here. Or 16 of y'all, exciting times. This is the Creepypasta stream, and it's all about things creepy. So I did this 2 years ago, and I did it on my main channel, but I'm not trying to crowd my main channel with too much stuff this year around. So I figured I would do it on the gaming channel because it kind of keeps things a little separate. So, excuse me. Halloween was good. Halloween was spent today. Guys, I drove all the way from Texas to Alabama today. Woke up at 4 in the morning, so I'm pretty tired. But I'm here and I'm wanting to do this. It's exciting. It's 11 o'clock. I'm gonna be doing this for about an hour, so we need to get right on the money, get started, not waste any time. The selections for the night are kind of random in the sense that I haven't thought of them, but usually that allows for suggestions. I do have a couple that I know I want to read because they're on my mind, and I'm excited for them because they've recently been the talk of a certain television show that's really cool. So we're going to go over them here in a second, but just if anyone wants to ask any questions for the time being, I know most of y'all have been here enough to know my answers to things. So, but if you want to ask any questions, I'm here for the time being while I pull up some creepypastas to read tonight. Also, how is the sound? I want to know how the sound is. Is it coming in and out? Okay, so it told me that my computer fell asleep, which is really comical because I have been doing this the whole time. My mouse has never stopped moving, so don't know why it said I went to sleep. That's confusing. That concerns me a little bit. Let me solve that problem real quick. Sorry, I figured y'all were asking questions and then just completely had to solve this problem, and I'm still going to have to solve this problem. Let's go to control panel. And let's go to fudge. I always think, is it appearance and personalization, or is it? I bet it's under hardware and sound. There we are. Yeah, put the computer to sleep, never. Turn off display, never. It says never. My gosh. I don't know what. I might have touched something, I guess. Who knows? I'll have to keep an eye on it, though. So I need to make sure this window is kind of like minimized a little bit, but still viewable. Off to the side just in case it gets stupid on me. Yeah, a couple. My last creepypasta, I like did some deliberately scary stuff, but this time around, I'm not actively thinking of doing anything scaring y'all. I'm too tired to think of anything actively scary. But let's do a quick one. Let's start this off. Someone mentioned that the creepypastas I'm talking about are indeed Candle Cove and the No End House, because those are the subject of a television show called Channel Zero right now that is on the Sci-Fi Network, and you can watch it for free right now on sci-fi-now.com. And I'm not being paid to say that. I'm just really want this show to succeed. So something that was beautiful and awesome that started on the internet, created by users, user-generated, for the love of horror, created these stories, and now they're actually getting attention and turning them into television show, little mini series. Like, we have to support this if we want this kind of material to keep existing. So I'm very adamant about pushing this show and pushing this content, because more of this stuff, the more we get of this, the cooler it'll be. And the better, like the more the networks and media will start listening to the internet. So anywhoosums, that's nothing on the loss of the video during the Usher ghost story, and because I mentioned it will happen. Oh my gosh, were you there, Brian, when I was talking about the Usher ghost and the video went out the last time I did this? That was nuts. Like, I still talk about the people who were part of the Usher, I'm going to call it the Usher incident, like, still don't believe it. Like, it was so surprising and like jarring and still really unexplained. And one of these years, guys, I'm going to come back and it's going to be this huge thing. I'm going to make a huge deal out of it because I'll have found the file. I'm going to be like, the Usher file has been found. And that's going to be the final event of Horror for Hiles, like 2017 or 2018, is I'll have the file for y'all to listen to. And it's going to be really exciting. But for the time being, I don't have it. So it is what it is. Yeah, the sci-fi-now.com. I don't know if that's the website, but I know it's sci-fi. Sci-Fi Network. Hello, Krista. Stephen Nice. Good to see you. Happy Halloween. I didn't finish Inside, Professor Tokatank, nor have we finished Resident Evil, nor have I finished what other game I started. Hello, Harmony. Welcome. All right, time to do some actual creepypasta. This one is called Candle Cove. So here we go. It's told in the form of like messages back and forth between people. So I'm going to give you a handle, then the subject line, and then the content of the actual message. So it starts off. Pardon me, my nose is really itchy today. Allergies are bad. Sky Shale 033. Subject line, Candle Cove Local Kids Show. Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 72. I lived in Irontown at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m. Mike Painter, subject line, RE Candle Cove Local Kids Show. Now we're going back and forth. Now I'm just going to do the person talking and then the subject line. Mike Painter, 65. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Kendall Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of the cave talking to a little girl. Sky Shale. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls, real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong in the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF, though. Jaren, 2005. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean, Sky Shale. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was Channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughing Stock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got too scared easily. And there was calliope music constantly playing, which for those who don't know, I think I said it wrong, but it's kind of the stuff you hear at carnivals, that carnival tune that's kind of creepy, associated with kind of clowns in the area. It's a calliope. That's what it is. That's that sound. And there was calliope music constantly playing. I don't remember the girl's name. Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice. Skyshale 003. Thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the Laughing Stock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had the awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Mike Painter. Haha, I remember now too, winky face. Do you remember this part, Sky Shale? You have to go inside. Sky Shale 003. Ugh, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was. And the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. With his two eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and that fishing line that opened and closed it. Ugh, it just looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above a really tall, narrow row of teeth. Kevin Hart joins in, not the comedian. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare Fuel. Jared, 2005. That wasn't the villain. The puppet was the puppet with the mustache. That was the villain's sidekick, Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he'd had only one eye, but yeah, the villain was the other marionette, the Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then. Kevin Hart. Jesus H. Christ, the Skin Taker. What kind of kids show were we watching? I seriously could not look at that screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings, just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape, and his glass eyes that were too big for his skull. Gosh almighty. Sky Shale. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? Mike Painter. Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close, his jaw just slid back and forth? I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the Skin Taker didn't look at the girl but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin." Sky Shale. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended, the show faded in from black, and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces, and then they were just screaming, and the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically, and all just screaming. The girl was moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. Kevin Hart. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. That was an episode. Sky Shale. No, not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally, just standing in place and crying and screaming for the whole show. Kevin Hart. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Jaren. Oh God, yes, the little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake, and the skin taker screaming through his gnashing teeth, his jaw careening so wildly I thought it would come off its wire hinges. I turned it off, and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother, and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Mike Painter. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, and if she remembered a kids show, Campbell Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. And she said, because I used to think it was so strange that you said, I'm going to go watch Campbell Cove now, Mom. And then you would tune the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination when you were with your little pirate show. And that's Campbell Cove. So there's your twist. Dude, Baraska's so good, it's just really long. It takes literally like 3.5 hours to listen to the radio play. Let's see. Okay, I'm not going to read that one. That's a bit long. I was thinking about reading the No One House, but it is long. One second, everybody. All right, let's hear some. I had to turn on the light for a second, mainly just because I'm freaking myself out. So, hi, Vexling. Yo, that big red ball. Yeah, it's the yoga ball that Kara sits on now. Helps her back. Let's see here. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm reading through some of these creepypastas just to see if they're any good. No one's done that one yet. Oh my goodness, Cat, you're right by a fire. Don't get burned. Cat. Yeah, it's really good, True Gamer. Hi, Lyricson. I'm looking for a creepypasta, but I'm having a hard time. Hey, what's up? My candle?
Are you doing things?
Yeah, I'm looking for a good creepypasta. Because we didn't have a lot of time to put it together. I'm just having to kind of see what's good on the fly.
You should turn your light on.
I had it off for a while.
Want me to turn it back on?
No, I'm good. You can keep it on for now.
By the way.
What?
Skittering.
That word, skittering. No, turn on the light. Don't be that way. You're awful. Yes, you can, Link. All right, I know what to do. Mainly because this is one of my favorites, and I'm very familiar with it, and I love reading it mainly because it's my all-time favorite. Who here has heard of Smile.dog? That's a good one. Oh wow, that's a lot of people saying yes. Okay, so many people have seen Smile.dog. I don't want to send the picture to someone as a joke. If it was one of the first creepypastas, I didn't know, but it's one of my favorites. Can you get out on me? There you go, sweet girl. All right, I'm going to read two things here because I got them pulled up now. And I'm going to read because someone posted it, and I think it's going to be really fun. Is the I'm a 911 operator just had the most terrifying call. That's the name of the creepypasta, and it was posted on Reddit's r no sleep. So here we go. And because I don't want to offend anybody, I'm going to bleep out bad words with like just other. I'm going to placehold them with things. So don't be too offended or weirded out. I'll make it sound natural. Okay, here we go. I'm going to turn out the light now so I can be official. So I can be right there with y'all. All right. Here we go. I look green. It's the blue. I have my blue. I've been saving it. It's my blue Boo candle from Bath and Body Works, and I'm very excited about it. I've been saving it all month for the 31st. So I'm a 911 operator. It's going to go back and forth. I'm going to do my best on-the-fly acting for this, so be ready for on-the-fly acting, however that looks. 911, what is your emergency? Yeah, hi. This is going to sound kind of strange, but there's a man stumbling around in circles in my front yard. Could you repeat that, sir? He looks sick or lost or drunk or something. I just woke up to get a glass of water and heard snow crunching around underneath my front window. So I peeked out. I'm looking at him now. He's about 10 yards away from my window. Something's not right. What's your address, sir? 1617 Quarry Lane in Pinella Pass. I'm going to send a squad car your way, but that's quite a ways out. Are you alone in your house, sir? Yes, I am alone. Can you confirm that all your doors and windows are locked? Stay on the phone with me. I know that my front door is definitely locked, but I'll go check my back door again really quick. I appreciate your help, by the way. I know this is kind of strange, but I really hope that... Sir, are you still there? He's still in the yard, but he's... What the... He's upside down. Sir, stay on with me. What is happening? He's staring right at me, but he's standing on his hands now. He's perfectly still, staring straight at me. He's doing a handstand, and he's smiling at me and not moving. He's doing a handstand, sir. I don't know how he's facing me and standing on his hands, and he's got this huge smile, and he's perfectly still. Please get someone out here now. Sir, I need you to remain calm. I've put out the call, and an officer is on his way. His teeth are so huge. Please help me. Sir, I want you to try and keep an eye on him, but make sure your back door is locked again. We need to make sure all possible access points are secured. Can you talk me through and confirm that your back door is locked? Okay, I'm walking backwards now and keeping him in my sight. My hand is on the back door knob now. It's locked. I need to check the deadbolt, so I'm going to take my eyes off of him for a split second. All right, sir, help is on the way. Just stay on the phone with me. Everything's going to be all right. Sir? Sir, are you still there? His face, it's up against the glass. Sir, I need you to speak up. What's happening? I looked away for a split second, and now his face, it's pressed up against my front window. His teeth are huge, and he's still smiling. There's no color in his eyes. Jesus, please help me. Why won't it just move? Sir, I need you to go to the nearest room and lock yourself inside of it. Do you have a basement or a bedroom that you can lock yourself in? He won't stop staring. He's going to hurt me. Sir, I need you to listen to me. Lock yourself somewhere safe until the officer arrives at your house. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm going to lock myself in my room. And you're positive that you're alone in your house, correct? Yes, I'm alone in the house. Wait a moment. He's moving. He's shaking his head. He's telling me no. He can hear us. He's telling me I'm not alone. Sir? Sir, are you still there? I heard a loud noise. Is everything all right? Sir? And that's the end of that. Fun times. It's really frightening to read. I'm not going to lie. I had chills throughout a lot of that. That's awful. Ugh. I hate that. Yeesh. Don't look away for even a split second, man. Okay. Let me pull my head together on that one. The episode of Nickelodeon's Double Dare that never aired in the United States. That sounds awesome, and I'm excited. Whew. Yeah, I have my window closed back there, thankfully. If my window had been open, I would have lost it. Dude, creepypastas, James, are like, no. That's what's so exciting about this sci-fi show, y'all. Like, Channel Zero goes in. Like everything, if you were here for the Candle Cove reading, like it's verbatim. Like the first episode, the character descriptions, all of it, the character names, the main character of the show is named Mike Painter. Like it follows it to a T, y'all. And it's so exciting. Like they expand on it, obviously, because it's a very short creepypasta, but the actual everything is within the creepypasta is in the show. They stay true to it. All right, I'm going to read this. This looks, I love this kind of stuff. This next one I'll keep my lights on for. Nah, bump that. I'm turning the lights off. Screw this. I'm a man. I think. I'm going to go get a drink real quick, everybody. Kept you waiting, huh? Did you see the face on his blinds? Oh, whatever. What if I kicked that door in and it was entirely someone else? Like someone sat down, it's this crazed man with long hair, just like, how frightening would that have been to you? Thank you, Gio. Oh, I'll have a prank next year, y'all. Y'all be ready. Yeah, I don't know. I don't announce it at all. And it's like all fritzy and like cutting out and things. They're not barbecue. They're Zaps. I'm sorry. I just didn't know. I didn't know you wanted any. Ninja, I will. I have episodes ready to go. It's just a matter of editing them and cutting them down to size, and I just need to do it more than anything. I really do. I haven't actually checked my email today, True Gamer. I haven't really replied to a lot of people's stuff lately because of planning for or being in my friend's wedding and then planning for the convention coming up. Sometimes it takes me longer to get to emails than normal, but I'll check it here in a little bit, or I'll check it tomorrow because technically a work day. At least that's how I do things. Dude, Voodoo Zaps are like so good. Cream cheese? Ooh, I might do that. I'll do Depressed Sally depending on how long it is. But let's do another one since this is a Creepypasta stream. This is called the episode of Nickelodeon's Double Dare that never aired in the United States. There's an interesting history behind satellite dishes and satellite broadcasting in the early 1990s. Some broadcasters intentionally scrambled their signals to prevent unauthorized reception by viewers who didn't pay to receive them. Others, though, after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the explosion of satellite dish use across the former Eastern Bloc, saw a great opportunity to reach a new audience. Whether or not they'd admit it today, Nickelodeon was one of those opportunistic broadcasters. Viacom, Nickelodeon's parent company, committed millions of dollars to research and develop better broadcasting technologies to saturate the new market with children's programming, hoping those kids would grow up and have a subconscious loyalty to the Nickelodeon brand and various programs. What this meant was the launch of highly experimental satellites and ground-based satellite dishes. The hardware deployment was completed in December of 1991, 2 weeks before the collapse of the Soviet Union. In September of 1992, the first and only broadcast using the new technology was conducted. On October 9th, 1992, the new broadcasting technology was made illegal in the United States. I was a Viacom engineer working for Nickelodeon in September of 1992. I was excited about the new satellite capabilities, just like any tech nerd would have been. I remember the first time our crew read the signal power specifications and the range of EM bands the technology would exploit. Bill Janes, the guy working with me at the time, remarked, "What the F is this, Star Trek?" I didn't even laugh. I just said something like, "Yeah, seriously." The stuff we'd be using seemed decades ahead of anything we've ever seen. Of course, like any technology, there were a lot of bugs to work out. Test receivers on Viacom chartered ships thousands of miles out at sea were getting burned out by the signals coming down from the new satellites. To make matters worse, if the signal did make it to the receivers without damaging them, the video quality was poor. Blurring static and dropped frames interlaced with noise plagued the testing period before we could get a handle on them. Still, the picture wasn't as good as we'd hoped. New cameras using some bizarre optical trick seemed to help get the test pattern to appear much more clearly, though. Not perfect, but good enough. Once we received the new cameras, Engineering Central over at Viacom's technology headquarters gave my crew at Nickelodeon Studios the go-ahead to start broadcasting with the new tech on September 22nd, 1992. It was going to be of a live, unedited taping of Double Dare. The Viacom brass figured a live taping was as good as a pre-recorded one. New viewers in the Eastern Europe and Russian market would get a chance to see Mark Summers' personality and other behind-the-scenes things that marketing research claimed they'd be interested in. We began the broadcast at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Things were going well. There were a lot of dropped frames early on, but things smoothed out. Interestingly, one of Viacom's sources in Bulgaria and one in Latvia said not only were there no reports of burned-out dishes, but the signal strength was so high, it bled into neighboring EM bands, forcing the Double Dare broadcast onto multiple channels on either side of the main one. At the start of the broadcast, it was estimated 60% of people with the satellite dishes in Eastern Europe and Russia were tuned into Double Dare. 60%. The show was nearing its end and the winner was announced. Now, this particular iteration of the show was Family Double Dare, so Mark Summers, the mother, the father, and their two sons were waiting for the prize to be unveiled. I knew it was going to be a car. It's always a car. The studio lights dimmed, and the moment the car was unveiled, the multicolored strobe light effect was turned on. There was a flash of heat, a brief scream from one of the family members, and Mark Summers was standing alone next to the car. In the headphones, I heard panic shouting from Engineering Central. There were lots of voices and tons of background noise, but one clear voice came through, and it said, "Turn it off!" I had the crew kill the cameras and cut the broadcast feed. Mark Summers looked at me, and my camera crew turned around and headed toward his dressing room. Lots of things happened at Viacom and Nickelodeon after that. Reports began trickling in from Eastern Europe about a devastating and inexplicable accident involving people with illegal satellite dish connections. Corporate circulated an internal briefing. I wasn't supposed to see it, but I knew a guy over there who shared it with me. The report included photographs. 20 years of therapy have done little to erase what those pictures contained. The moment the lights strobed, they triggered something in the experimental optics in the cameras. Whatever that something was, the organic matter in front of the cameras flashed out of that point in space. We've never been able to figure out why or how it happened, nor were we able to figure out why the four family members reappeared in each and every location the broadcast was received. 4 people, copied tens of thousands of times, were beamed across the world. But the worst part was how they came out. Once the family signal reached the dishes and came through the televisions connected to them, they merged with every single living thing that had their eyes focused on the screen. One cluster of 4 family members occupying the space of each viewer's eye. Those were the photographs I saw, and there were hundreds of them. Not just in Eastern Europe either, but friends of mine from the control rooms at Viacom and Nickelodeon. Viacom spent billions of dollars to keep this quiet. The Eastern European governments, desperate for cash to aid in their independence, agreed to bury the incident after receiving cargo planes full of cash. All the Viacom and Nickelodeon employees who witnessed were associated with victims received large settlements to shut them up. We then had to sign something promising we'd never talk. I signed it. The thing is, I'm not going to be around much longer. Cancer's got me pretty good. And Viacom will come after me, but I've got nothing they can take away that hasn't already been claimed by what's eating away at me on the inside. But I'm not telling you this because of what happened in 1992. What's done is done. There's nothing that can change it. Here's why I'm telling you all this. It's the one thing that's been bothering me all these years. Mark Summers. Summers was directly in the shot with the family when they disappeared. He didn't go anywhere, though. He was perfectly fine. Just walked away. I did my best to not let it bother me. And for a while, it just stuck with me as one of those weird things. Last weekend, though, when an orderly was helping me off the elevator and out of the hospital, I saw Mark Summers walking by. Everything flooded back at once, so I stopped him and asked, "Mark, so what really happened on that day in 1992? Pretty weird that you weren't affected, huh?" Mark just looked at me for a minute before a smirk appeared in the corner of his mouth. "Not that weird, actually," he replied. His left eye dropped, and I saw lights and what appeared to be fiber optic cables tangling inside his skull. Not that weird at all. Mark Summers was a robot. The first comment is Mark Mother effing Summers. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Ooh, that's funny. I love that. That's scary. I'm tired of your babbling. Turn on the air, bro. Oh, here's another one. I'm on Reddit now, and it's like pretty good actually. There's a lot of good stuff on Reddit. Oh, I have read part of Queen's Guard in England. That was really good. This one I just found. It's called "There's Something Very Wrong with My Parrot." We shall see. I have an African gray parrot named Perry. He's been part of the family for 25 years. I've known him my whole life. When my parents were alive, they taught him a bunch of words and phrases, and he'd always make us laugh. Lately, though, He's been saying things we never taught him. Certainly not things we'd ever say either. Nancy, my wife, was in the kitchen with her friends the other day when they all heard Perry squawk, "It bathes in tears and rains beneath our feet." They all laughed and wondered what the hell I could have been watching on TV for the bird to pick up a phrase like that. They continued their lunch, but 10 minutes later, Perry started again. "It rains beneath our feet, it rains beneath our feet." Then he squawked and screamed and rattled his cage so hard that he almost fell off the table. Nancy checked to see if he was okay, and he chirped and allowed her to stroke his head with her finger. He seemed no worse for the wear. That night after I'd gotten home and Nancy had told me about Perry's weirdness, I let him out of his cage to fly around the house. He was well behaved and never knocked anything off shelves or took a crap on things we cared about. He stepped out of the cage and onto the table, but he didn't take off. He just stood there, looking around. "Go ahead, Perry," I coaxed. "Go get some exercise." He remained stationary, but he watched me, the pupils wide in his beige eyes. "You okay, buddy?" I asked. I was concerned for the little guy. He had always been in great health and never acted weird. This was entirely unlike him. Perry cocked his head and stared into my eyes. For some reason, I felt a chill run down my spine even before he spoke, almost like I knew he was about to frighten me. In a deep tone I'd never heard from him in all my years, he uttered, "Beneath your feet." A weird voice. Something knocked on the floor directly below where I was standing. I jumped about a mile and stepped away from the bird who hadn't moved. "Still beneath your feet," he said. The knock came again. It was 100 times louder and so powerful my ankle twisted under me, and I fell sideways onto the couch. The floorboards where I'd been standing bulged upwards. One had cracked. Nancy came running downstairs, asking, "What the hell was that?" I told her to go into the kitchen and call the police. Someone was in the cellar. Nancy and I waited by the door for the police to arrive. They got there quickly. We let them in and they went into the basement. A couple of minutes later, they came back up. "No one's there," they told us. "Wait, then what?" The older cop cut us off. "Can you come look at something with us?" "Okay," Nancy said, "but what is it?" "Just come downstairs." We followed the cops into the basement. Neither Nancy nor I go down there very often. I was a little embarrassed by how gross and dusty it was until I saw marks in the dust-covered floor and countertops. "Are those footprints?" I asked, more to myself than to anyone around. "That's what we thought," said the younger officer. "But they look pretty weird for footprints." Pardon me. We got to the part of the cellar that was under where I'd been standing. The cops aimed their flashlights at the wood above our heads. An indentation was clearly visible. It almost looked like a punch. But the shape wasn't of any hand we'd even seen. It looked like it had too many knuckles, too many bones. What the hell? I traced my finger over the indentions. I shivered. Upstairs, Perry squawked. The floorboards around the indentation began to leak. Liquid dripped into my mouth and I sputtered. It was salty. It reminded me of the taste you get after crying for a long time. "Did you spill upstairs?" the older cop asked. "Yeah, maybe the bird knocked something over." "Is that him making all that noise?" I nodded. "He's been weird all day." We headed back upstairs and the cops told us to call if we have any other concerns about something being in our house. Nancy and I thanked them and they left. I stared at the damage to the living room floor. Perry hadn't knocked anything over, but there was a small puddle on the wood. He'd gone back into his cage and sat in the corner quietly clucking. I approached the cage. It's really red. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where I was. I approached the cage. There were little wet footprints around it. They were his prints. It looked like he might have lapped up some of the water that had been on the floor while we were in the cellar. What's going on, bud? You having a rough day? I tried not to think about what had just happened. There had to be a reason for it. Maybe the wood had warped. The basement's always been damp and gross. That had to have been it. The wood warped and trapped moisture was dripping out of the fracture point. But then there was Perry. Perry stared at the bottom of the cage, still clucking. He didn't look up. I reached out to pet his hand, but he struck my finger with his beak. Not hard enough to do any damage, but with enough force to let me know he wanted none of my affection. I looked at my pet with sympathy, wondering if he was just getting old and losing his mind. He remained in the corner, trembling slightly. Something caught my eye. There was red on the cage where he was sitting. I looked closer. It was blood. What happened, Perry? I asked and reached inside to pick him up, knowing I was in for a pecking. Before I could grab him, he spoke in that same chilling voice. It will bathe in blood and claim the sky. He paused and then slowly spoke. 27 days. I picked up my bird to see how badly he was hurt, but before I could assess his wound, I saw what was in the corner where he was sitting. Something entirely unexpected. Perry, my male African gray parrot, had been sitting on a bloody black egg. It's been 24 hours since all this started. Perry seems no worse for wear, but he fights whenever we try to pick him up. He does everything he can to remain by the egg. I don't know what's happening to him, and I have no idea what he means with any of the stuff he's saying. Whenever he talks now, it's just 26, followed by the words hours. The number of hours keeps going down, and I haven't heard it, but Nancy swears she hears soft knocking coming from the basement each time Perry makes his announcements. That is that. Creepy birds. You like my voices? I do what I do the best I can. You like how the room is red now? Not a bad idea, Obo. Well, rip that family. I love how everyone at the end of these stars is like, well, bye. Nice knowing you. That looks creepy right there. I really don't know how the room turned red, guys. I have no clue. I really don't. And I promise you I'm not planning anything. It just happened. Thank you, Baptiste. All right. Well, I'm going to do one more story, and then I'm going to do this here real quick. Really quickly, I'm going to ask who here has heard, just so I can get a gauge of the crowd to know if I want to do this or not. We'll move on to another story if it comes to that. But who here has heard my Usher ghost tale? Who here has heard it? Who here hasn't heard it? There's 33 people here, so who's here heard it? Who hasn't? Wow. Okay, cool. Wow, that's a lot of people who haven't heard it. Okay, neato. Well, what's interesting about this story I'm going to tell you, and maybe I'll make this the last one of the night because it's kind of long. This story I'm telling you is actually happened to me. This is a real story. This isn't creepypasta necessarily, but I've told it many, many times at this point because it's just an interesting little tale. So buckle in for this one. You're going to get some background about Caleb on this one too. So yes, personal story, creepypasta, yes, but there's a lot to it. So here we go. Back in 2009, so we're in 2009 right now. My friend and I, my friend Phil, we started a band called From the Dark. You can actually find us on Spotify. We have an album. Our second album is done. We just got to release it. So we had an album completely done. And or we have one album done, but in 2009 we were working on our first few songs for From the Dark. And Phil's our main songwriter. He writes most of the songs. He writes the lyrics, writes the music. I help him with the drum parts, and I help him with vocal melodies, things like that. So yeah, 2009, really scary year. A lot happened. So one of the first series of songs he wrote, he loves to write story songs, and he also really loves Edgar Allan Poe. So one of the first songs he wrote was a set of 3 songs telling the story of the Telltale Heart. So the first song was called Part 1, Midnight Approach. Part 2 was called Mourning, as in M-O-U-R-N. And yeah, some of y'all are remembering the story now. And then part 3 was called The Fall. And you can actually hear The Fall of the House of Usher on our album. It's actually on Spotify, like I was saying. You can hear the third part. So we cut out the first part, mainly just because it was kind of a ripoff of a King Diamond song. If you've never heard of King Diamond, he's great. But the part 2 Mourning song, we cut for other reasons. I realize I'm setting this up kind of creepypasta-like when I say that. We cut this last year. Or we cut it. Sorry, I was reading comments while I was talking. We cut the Mourning song for different reasons. And I'm not reading this. This is me recalling it from memory. And so in 2009, I was saying we had finished all the songs. I had finished out the drum parts, everything. And this particular day, we were working on part 2 Mourning. We were working on it. And we had just gotten all the parts hammered out, how I was going to play it, things like that. And we were playing through it for the second time ever, fully. We were playing through it fully for the second time ever. And this is a little history about the song and what it's about and happening in the Telltale Heart, the story itself, at this point in time in part 2. The main character has, I might get this wrong for people who know the story, but anyway, I think he killed his sister, and he's burying her under the tiles of the house. Just burying her, and I think she's alive. She's actually alive. She's burying her alive. It's really frightening. So buries her under there. That's what's going on during the song. And the song's really frightening and really creepy. But the song, I don't know much about music theory. The song is in, I think, 6/4 time. All I know is this, guys. I count off the song in, I count it off in 6 beats. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the song starts. And then the rest of the song is in 6, 6, so repeating 6 over and over and over again. So yeah, beneath the floorboards. And so I'm playing into the song. I'm going, doing my thing. And actually, I just realized y'all can actually hear part 2 Mourning right now if you want to, because I just realized we have it available to listen to right now. Before I go on with the rest of the story, you could watch the first part of that and tell me what you think. If you want to skip to about, where does this song start? Okay, so it starts pretty early on. I'm going to give y'all about like 15 seconds to listen to that, and then I'll continue with the story. Part of the story. That's me on the drums, by the way, playing in the back. For those who don't know, that's me playing drums. I also sing. I have a microphone by me. The song's not that great, guys, but we did what we could. 2009. I uploaded on 2011, but it was 2000. That concert was in 2010, but we wrote it in 2009. So while you are listening to that, I'll continue on with the story. So playing through the second time, and I get about, if you're listening to the song, I get about 15 seconds into it. And yeah, we're a heavy metal band. And I get about 15 seconds into the song, and I swear to y'all, I hear this incredibly loud very sharp and shrill noise, kind of like a scream. I really don't know. The best way I can describe it that I've really come to figure out is just kind of otherworldly. Like that's the best word I can describe it as, is this really otherworldly sound. And I didn't lock up, but Phil saw my face because I'm on the drums and he's kind of over in this part doing his thing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, because everything locked up when it had her. I was like doing my normal thing, and then all of a sudden I just went into like complete robot mode, and I eventually slowed to a stop, and I stopped, and I have this recording somewhere, and it's not on this computer, is it? Hold up, it's not on this computer. I've lost it forever. Oh wait, hold on. No. No, this isn't it. Yeah, this ain't it. Oh, this is it. No, it's not. JK. I have the real song, but I don't have the recording. I have the recording of my reaction. You don't hear, this is even weirder, y'all, is you don't even hear what I heard in the recording. But I know I heard it because you audibly see me react, or you hear me react on the recording. I say it. And so I'm just like, weird. I'm weirded out by it. I told Phil, I'm just so weirded out. I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to play the song anymore for a while. And then later that day, far removed from it, Phil told me like, hey man, didn't want to tell you then, but I totally heard that same sound, and I heard it from your direction. Because what we theorized was the idea that when he had an amp, and amps pick up lots of radio signals, guys. They pick up a lot of radio signals, and it's really strange. Sometimes like you'll be playing and a voice will come through. It'll be like, buy one. What the fudge? Like a voice comes through. So we were like, okay, signal picked up, whatever. And my thought was, okay, it was behind me, y'all. Like it was playing my drums on my stool, and it was behind me. So my thought was, okay, it's coming from the amp, bounced off the wall behind my head. But it's not, because Phil heard it over in my direction, not coming from his amp, because he's right by it. He heard it back where I was. And he was just like, I don't even know what, I don't know. It was just weird. It was weird for everybody involved. That's not the whole story, though. That's just the beginning. That's 2009. So we play that song a lot. We still playing it live. Nothing, no problems at all. In 2012, we get the funny, stupid idea to get the whole band together, get them all upstairs. And it's not even late at night or anything. It's like 3 in the afternoon. So it's like really fine time. We close all the windows, turn all the blinds. We set up a camera. We set up 2 cameras, one on the whole band and one directly behind me. And we decided we also wanted to set up a little sound recording place, because our thought was maybe we summoned something. Like, we don't know. We had no clue. Some theories we had for we possibly summoned something is there is this ephemeral or ethereal theory of the devil's chord, the tritone, which is in the song. You hear it. It's usually sometimes going to be something like, ah! Like that's kind of a tritone, like really uncomfortable. And Usher 2 has a lot of those sounds in it. And not only that, like I said, I count off 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over and over and over again. And you get what I'm getting at. So we're just kind of wondering, like, okay, is it the song? Because my house isn't buried on some Indian burial ground or whatever it is. There's nothing. And it's an uncomfortable song. It's weird to hear. And it's even weirder, all that stuff happening. Anyway, we thought, okay, well, let's set up a microphone with a laptop and let's isolate it from us. Let's put it away. Let's put it somewhere where if whatever the heck's going on wants to go and say something or talk, it can go do that. So we put it in the attic, which is partially us being cliche, and the other part of us seriously thinking it'll go over there and do its talking or whatever it is, not behind me. And that'll be fine. So, and to make it more uncomfortable for me, we actually kept the attic door open, and the shot we have is behind me facing the attic door, or it's facing me, but the attic door is kind of in the background, very obvious, very dark and frightening. It has it has what's the word? It has night vision on and everything. And so the whole recording, everything video and sound included is about 24 minutes or so. It records us practicing. It recorded us just chatting. It recorded us a couple other people just playing their instruments, shooting the breeze. People went downstairs to get food, recorded all of that. The video recording of the whole band didn't turn up a whole lot. There was some weird in and out focusing business and some weird strings on the tape, but that can kind of be explained as just bad recording. In terms of the video, the most interesting thing we got in terms of footage was the camera angle behind me. It was focused on me. It was focused on me the whole time. And about 1/3 of the way through the song, through the sixth part, the camera I had at the time had a feature, and some of y'all's cameras might have it, where if it finds a face or a body, it'll focus on it. Now the camera doesn't shift, the camera doesn't move. The actual lens inside has a thing that it focuses. It'll find it and it'll move on its own. It also helps with Steadicam. So when you're doing this, it's less shaky. It's a function you may recognize. So it's on me focused, and then this little thing does a little shift towards the attic door, like 30 seconds, and then shifts back to me. And I'm not even kidding you. Like, it happened. That's why I wish I had the video, because I edited a whole 5-minute, 20-second video of all the evidence we had, and that was one of them. And if you were lucky enough to see it on my channel when it was up, the Caleb House or the Crazy Bros channel, which is my old channel, you saw it. It was very distinct, very uncomfortable. But that's not all of it. That's actually the what's the word? The primer for the main thing we got. The biggest thing that happened was on the microphone in the attic. And we hadn't even started recording. That's the funny part. And that's an important detail, believe it or not, is that we hadn't started practicing. We hadn't started playing. Tim and Neil, our guitarist and bassist at the time, were working on their parts outside of the upstairs. We're upstairs, by the way. We're playing upstairs. They're outside the attic door. And we put the microphone and the laptop pretty deep into the attic because we wanted to keep it there, keep it away, things like that. And they're playing their instruments, all of that business. And Phil's downstairs getting food. And I'm upstairs with them. So about, I think, 8 minutes into the recording, something like that, there is this distinct noise that starts happening. And mind you, this is actually the same microphone I used for this experiment. I used a Shure SM57 directional microphone. For those who don't know, this right here that I'm using to talk to you is an omnidirectional microphone, as in it records from all directions. Omni, multiple, like all around. A directional microphone records in a single direction. So the Shure SM57, it can pick up stuff behind it and around it, but it's certainly not going to be clear, and it's not going to be the sound quality you want. So Shure SM57 pointed forward into the attic. There was a distinct sound in front of the microphone, not on top of the mic, not right here. It's not some scary, like, big giant jump scare. It is right. It's in front of the mic. It is clearly in front of the mic. It's not behind it. It's not to the side of it. It's not downstairs. It's not above it. It is in front of the microphone. Because you hear on the recording, you hear the playing, the practicing in the back, and you hear them chatting. And then out of nowhere, this sound comes up, and initially you hear like that. That is the noise. I'm not joking. It's a little far back, and it's kind of echoed, but it is not a drop. Nothing fell. It was an audible, spoken, air coming out of lungs sound. And it was very uncomfortable, but that was not as uncomfortable as, yeah. By the way, guys, anytime I ever tell this story, my connection gets weird stuff. I don't know what it is. It happened 2 years ago when I did it, and I think it happened the year before when I told the story. It happens every year. But right after he goes, does that, words were spoken, y'all. I wish to all things that y'all could hear it, because actual words were spoken. This was not some sort of screaming, wispy, kind of someone's talking and a voice comes under it, like, Ghost Adventures does it sometimes. Someone will be like, yeah, Robbie, I don't know what they're talking about. They're stupid. Like, it'll come in as he's finishing his sentence. No, nothing was going on. It was, and then this voice comes up after that, and I'll do the sequence. And it sounds like screaming, y'all. It sounded like a screaming. This sounded like a visceral thing. It says, Kara, don't tease me like that. Don't tease me like that, Kara. Anyway, it goes, stop! I'll take your life! That's my terrible voice. It does not really capture it, guys. That's just kind of what I'm feeling it. So it pretty much just said, stop, or I'll take your life. It said it verbatim. Kara, do you have... And now I'm talking to Kara over our same account. That's pretty fun. But yeah, it said, and it sounded like someone was screaming because it went up in volume. That's what's even weirder, y'all. It was in front of the mic and it increased. It was a quick, like, stop, or I'll take your life. It was like that. Is it? Doug. Yeah, if she can find it, do I shop at East Del Mall? Not anymore. Thank you, Kara, for vetting me on that. She's heard it, and when we caught it, I'll put it this way: my dad does not allow that song to be played in the house. Like, I mean, it pretty much when he played it for me, he's like, "That's the end of that." Like, I'm just saying, skeptic or not, on the things. When you hear things like that, and you really don't have an explanation for it, and you can throw things at it all day, like maybe the wood creaked, maybe there was some wind blowing, maybe someone said something. When you hear it and you don't have a good reason for it, spiritual or otherwise, there must be some admission of that there is no good evidence at the time now that we have, or explanation for what is happening. Therefore, in its very nature, it is supernatural, because we can't explain it in a natural way. So, coming from Phil on our team, who is a skeptic in a way, when he heard the recording, because all of us, Tim, Neil, and me, when we heard it initially, we just thought it was Phil. Well, I don't know. We didn't know where Phil was at the time, but we're like, it was Phil. And then he came up and we played it for him, and he wigged out. I've never seen Phil. I say this every time. I've never seen Phil wig out the way he wigged out when we played that recording for him, because he just lost it. He was like, I have no idea what in the world was that? And we're like, that was you, right? And he's like, why would that be me? Like, that is not me at all. It's in front of the mic. I was downstairs getting food, and he was, because we had my mom downstairs to vet him on that. He was downstairs talking to my mom, and mom had no idea about the plans or anything. I was just like, hey, mom, I asked her like later, did Phil talking to you this afternoon? She was like, yeah, we were talking. So I don't know. Y'all. I wish we had the recording. We're going to find it, guys, and we're going to save it for next year. So y'all can get the full recording, and I'll recover my hard drives or whatever the heck. Like, I'll do it, and we'll make sure y'all hear that story and see the footage, because it really, really is, like, I don't know if we have a Class A EVP. I don't know. I really don't. Either way, y'all. Yeah, all my broken hard drives. So many of them, guys. I have like 8 broken hard drives. We need a Kickstart for my hard drive. Yeah, there's so many covers on there too that are just never going to come out. They're like old covers that aren't that good, but they're still covers. Anyways, guys, I will make that my last for the evening. Yeah. If I find it, I will send it to y'all. I won't even wait if I find it. Sorry for my lateness, and yeah, I apologize for that. But since I have y'all here, I want to ask a little bit about Horror for Hiles. If y'all enjoyed it this year, if y'all saw any of the videos, if you haven't, please go check them out. I think they're really cool and different. But what are some other ideas maybe for next year Horror for Hiles? I'd love to know what you think. But yes, cloud saves. I save everything in the cloud now, y'all. Everything goes in the Google Drive as well as it does my computer. I don't play around with it. Dude, the ghost covers, OMG. Excuse me. Pardon me, y'all. I spent over 4 hours listening to you yesterday. Dang, that's a long time. Is one I know well. That's good to hear. I'm glad you know the song sound for us. I kind of went with more feel songs, not necessarily songs that were popular. I went with songs that felt right for the environment and things like that. Last year was a production, Steven. Man, that was a fun time. I did 10. That's the Horror for Hiles last year was the most covers I've ever done, and it like wore me down, like completely wore me down. And as much as I'd love to do that again, it was very tiring. I might do another thing similar to it, but it just was involved. And that's fine, though. I mean, there's always a little bit of risk involved when you're recording at an abandoned house. Kind of off the beaten path. So you don't really know what's going to happen. So it's really uncomfortable. It was very frightening. And not only that, but if anyone had found us, it just would have been a very odd scene. Let's see. Preston, me too. I would much prefer to do the MCR version, but in terms of feeling for the cover and the location, I really felt that the 21 Pilots version was more appropriate. But what that allows me to do is potentially cover it again later on down the road. Gives me a chance to do it twice. I'd probably put it in a My Chemical Romance medley or something like that because I love My Chemical Romance. Vexling, I will be in Fort Worth November 18th to the 20th for Anime North Texas. The tickets are really cheap, or cheaper than most, and I will be there, and it's going to be awesome. I'll be doing 4 panels, including a concert and a sing-along, so I'm really busy that weekend. In fact, one of the things I'm doing at Anime North Texas in Fort Worth from November 18th to 20th, I am doing a singing lesson. What? I know y'all been asking for that, but I'm finally doing a singing lesson, and it'll be fun. I think. I'm very nervous to see how it goes, but it'll be fun. Mad World was haunting SF. I suggest you also film at Chicken Nugget Processing Plant. Poultry, guys. This guy's got jokes. That's really funny. Sometime, Nessa. Hey. That Patreon game, though. That'll you know all about it. You know all about it. Darren's like, yeah, I'll watch you. It's 6 a.m. in France, so I'll go to bed. Wait, you haven't been to bed yet? I thought you just woke up. Are the investigation clips coming soon? Lolly Gushimi or Gushimai. I intended to do the investigation clips for Spring Villa because I didn't do any investigation for King House or Condi's room because we just didn't have enough time and we were kind of rushed, especially for Condi's room. We were asked twice what we were doing there, and we had a student with us who was willing to vie for us and kind of lie to keep us there. So I didn't even have a chance to be like, get the EMF out, let's do some things. And the Spring Villa stuff, just there wasn't, when looking back over it, there wasn't enough material to do anything with. There were a couple things that happened that were a little strange, like the EMF detector went off twice, but it was at random times too. Like we were going up the spiral staircase you see in the video, and it just clicked one time. We were just going up. We went back in after recording, and it was like boop, and we're like, okay. And then when we were outside, Brinkley, Kara, and Drew, our cameraman, are both camera people actually, were playing with a frog, and then Neil and I were just chatting, and he had it in his hand up by his head, and it just went boop again, and we're like, what? And we're just so confused. So we had some stuff, but it wasn't enough to make a thing out of. And it was like partially serious, partially funny. So I didn't know whether or not to make a video fully or not, if there was enough material. So I don't think there's going to be an investigation video for it. Maybe for a behind the scenes thing for Patreon, I'll make it, but in terms of a release on the channel, probably not. Do you guys have any plans to do a general fan meetup separate from a concert con? I'd love to. I just don't know if I have the following for that, because that'd be funny. But I just think that'd be fun. I just think it might be a bit too, a little bit too, what's the word? I don't know if a lot of people would show up. Maybe we'll see. I thought it was weird how nervous you got for the last cover. Me too, Obo. Me too. Walking around King House at Montevallo, guys, is really uncomfortable. All the windows are open. All the windows are also original from 1800s. And the history in that house was really dark. And I knew Hurt very well. Like, I was pretty darn certain of myself. And then when I started singing, I just started realizing I'm forgetting all these things, and I don't know why I'm forgetting them. And then I got anxious about it because we had to go. We were on a schedule. And I just was like, I need the phone for this one. I can't even remember anything. So it was just really odd and uncomfortable the entire time recording that song. And because it was, in a way, like Ghost Covers was purposefully uncomfortable. It was meant to be uncomfortable because I was going into places that I'm not one to deal with the kind of paranormal stuff, because I'm very much of the belief that there's good and evil in this world, and half the time when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's usually not good. So I don't like to go tarry around in that kind of thing. But I liked the idea of singing at a location that was uncomfortable and weird and had a history like that, and bringing some levity to a situation like that. But in doing so, it was really uncomfortable. So neat, and it was a neat experience for me. But any more creepy is the word I'll throw on it, and I probably wouldn't want to do it, because like the level at which I was at, I was like, good, fine by me, like I can handle that. But other stuff, I don't know. Sorry, y'all. Reading comments and things, and I had just clogged for a second. Anyways, guys, y'all have a good rest of the evening. Y'all been wonderful people this month for Horror for Hiles. I love y'all to death. And if you guys have any messages or requests, I'm going to get to them tomorrow, and I'll get to them throughout the rest of this week, because I have a lot of emails I need to catch up on, because y'all have been wonderful about sending me emails. I'm going to get to all of them over this week. And so, yes, please, if you have any questions or anything like that, please send them at my email at calebhilesmusicinfo@gmail.com. I apologize for those who have sent stuff and you haven't gotten a reply. It is in the works. I will definitely get on it. So, y'all, let me just write it out to make it easier. It's also on my YouTube channel itself. Caleb Hiles Gaming now. You can send an email about anything. Like, literally, you can. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, y'all have a good rest of the evening. Thank y'all so much for making Horror for Hiles as awesome as it was. And expect some new covers this week that you're going to be really excited for. I'm excited of doing them. Yeah, be excited, because I'm really excited. My voice is primed and ready to finally record some. It's actually been a long time since I've recorded, so I'm very much excited. So y'all have a good rest of the evening. I'll see y'all around. If you have any questions, hit me up with that email. Love y'all. Good night.